Parallel reasoning. Example, which one of the following is most closely parallel in its reasoning to the reasoning in the argument above?
Yep.
Strategy. Start with a rough test of good versus bad, which you already should have done as you were reading the passage.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you get done with the passage, you need to know always, no matter what question, you need to know whether the argument was good or bad. Parallel has a flaw variant. The flaw variant of the parallel question is where they tell you that there's a flaw.
Yep.
Anyway, back to the parallel type.
Yep.
We're always going to start with a rough test of good versus bad as we're reading. Then when we see that it's a parallel question, we're going to think about, well, okay, the argument was good, so I need a good answer, or the argument was bad, so I need a bad answer.
Yeah.
If the argument is obviously flawed, then the correct answer will be flawed in the same way. If the argument is valid, the correct answer will be valid in the same way. Eliminate wrong answers as soon as they deviate from the given argument. You shouldn't need to read all of every answer to know it's wrong.
I do want people, I agree with that 100%, but I also want people to be careful because sometimes they reorder the premises and the conclusion, right, in the answer choices. And sometimes people read the first sentence and they're like, well, that's not at all like the first sentence in the original argument. Therefore, this is not parallel. Therefore, this is wrong. It's like, whoa. Make sure you're comparing apples to apples.
Right. I agree. The order is not relevant.
Yep.
They might have ended with their conclusion in the given argument, and the correct answer might have the conclusion first.
Yep.
So you're not going to eliminate answers just because things are out of order, but you can certainly eliminate answers if the given argument, for example, was talking about sufficient and necessary, like it had a whole bunch of conditional statements.
Yep.
And then answer choice A starts off with cause and effect.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I didn't see that anywhere in the original given argument. So
yeah, that's not about order of operations. That's a completely different thing. Now we're talking about a completely different idea. If it's a different idea, not different topic, but a different idea, like just a different type of reasoning, different type of argument, then that's out. And you don't need to read the whole thing to see if it's going to turn itself into a correct answer. That's what I really want people to realize about parallel questions is that if it's partially wrong, it's 100% wrong. And you don't have time to read every answer choice all the way through.
Yeah.
I want to point out here that this is not gimmicky. This is not a shortcut. This is not a like substitute for understanding. What this is wrong answers don't even have to make sense. 80% of answers are wrong. And on parallel questions, the answer choices are also really long. And so the way to get through parallel questions in a reasonable amount of time is to know what you're looking for and then be ruthless in getting rid of wrong answers. Frequently, you can get rid of wrong answers in just 3 or 4 words. You just read the beginning of it and you're like, well, wait a second, that's a whole different idea.
Yeah.
So that's out. Okay. Flaw variant of the parallel question type sounds like which one of the following exhibits the flawed reasoning most similar to the flawed reasoning above. They are asking you to match the flaw. I can't tell you how many times I have had a student pick it, well, what's wrong with this answer? This answer is perfect. And I look at the answer and I go, hey, it's not flawed.
Yeah.
that argument is valid.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yep.
They asked you to match a flawed argument. The correct answer that you pick must be flawed.
Yeah.
And like if it doesn't have exactly the same flaw, then that's not going to be the answer. So what I have here is don't look for a strategy. Don't look at the answers until you've spotted the flaw.
Yep.
I think that's critical. I mean, you just have no business looking at the answer choices on a parallel flaw question.
Yeah.
If you don't know what the flaw is, make a clear objection, then find the answer that is susceptible to the same objection.